welcome to Sunday School. So good to be back with you all for another week of Sunday School. We are continuing our series, Ordinary People Change the World. And today's hero is Rosa Parks. We want to thank Simone for being our acolyte last week, and we want to thank Kibwe for doing communion. You both did a wonderful job. For this week, we want to thank Alice for being our acolyte, and we want to thank Sophia for doing communion. You both did a great job. Way to go. We also want to thank Alice and Clara for their beautiful and awesome stop-action Lego dinosaur movie that we featured last week. That was so cool. You guys did a great job with that. Well, we've got some more great music and a great story. With that, let's head on in to the lighting of our candle.
May God's love be with you all.
Our scripture this morning comes from the book of Esther, the 4th chapter and the 14th verse. If you remember, the story of Esther is about a Jewish woman who rose to become the queen of Persia. In this particular verse, her uncle Mordecai is reasoning with her, reasoning that perhaps she has come to where she was for such a time as this, come to that moment to stand up and save her people. And in her courage, Esther does just that. Our hero today is Rosa Parks, and she, like Esther, had incredible courage, standing up for her own and the rights as well as the rights of others. She dared to arise in such a time as she was to make a difference, to change the world. May each of us, like Esther, like Rosa Parks, dare to arise in this moment and be people who truly work to make the world better. With that, let's head on in to Sunday School.
Here's this week's quiz. Abraham Lincoln loved to A. Split wood, B. Ride a bike, C. Read. Announce your answer. The correct answer is C. Read. He was a voracious reader. We've had 46 presidents. Lincoln was our A. 7th president, B. 16th president, C. 24th president. Your answer? The correct answer is B. He was the 16th president. How many words were in Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address? Was it A, 272, B, 710, or C, 1,394? Your answer? The correct answer is A, 272 words. Thanks for taking the quiz.
I am Rosa Parks. Growing up, I was small for my age. I was sick a lot too, since we didn't have money for a doctor. But that didn't mean I was weak. My mother and grandfather taught me to respect myself and to expect respect from others. Back then, if you were black, you were treated unfairly just because of the color of your skin. You weren't allowed to live in the same neighborhood as a white person, eat in the same restaurant, ride in the same elevator, or use the same bathroom. You couldn't even drink from the same water fountain. One was marked for whites, the other for colored. Our schools were different too. My school was a small old wooden building with one room and one teacher for all of us. There were no windows, desks, and barely any books. And we brought our books home every night because we were worried that folks who hated the color of our skin would burn down our school. The school for kids who were white was a new brick building with beautiful windows, new desks, plenty of books, and a playground. If you were black, you had to walk to school while the white kids got to ride the bus. And those kids on the bus threw trash at my brother and I when we were walking home. As I got older, things didn't change much. One winter day, I was waiting for the local city bus. If you were black, you had to ride in the back of the bus. If you were white, you rode up front. On that day, the back of the bus was packed, but there were plenty of seats in the front. I was just trying to find a place to sit, but as I entered through the front door of the bus, I tried to explain that there was no room to get in through the back. The driver didn't care. He wanted me off the bus. He grabbed me by my coat sleeve. I dropped my purse near the front door. To pick it up, I sat in the front seat, a white seat. It made the driver madder than ever. He kicked me off the bus. But I promise you, that wasn't the last time I'd face that bus driver. I stopped using colored water fountains. I'd rather go thirsty than be treated so poorly. Instead of riding separate elevators, I took the stairs. I was working as a seamstress, but I also started working to change things. At the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, we fought for fairer laws and made sure that people's stories were heard. But as for real change, even I didn't know what was coming. It was the end of a busy Thursday. I was 42 years old and on the bus going home. This time, I was sitting in the first row of seats that were allowed for black people. There was one man next to me and two women across from me. It was the same driver from before. At the third stop, a few white people got on, filling the rest of the empty seats. There was one white person left standing, so the driver told those of us in my row to move. At first, none of us moved. When he asked again, the other three people got up. I stayed right where I was. He wanted to take my seat away because I was black and the man was white. I knew what the rules said, but I also knew in my heart that's not how you treat people. People say that the reason I refused to give up my seat was because I was tired. And I was, but it wasn't the kind of tired that came from aching feet. The only tired I was tired of giving in. Before me, there were other brave women who had refused to give up their seats. On that day, for violating the rules of Montgomery, Alabama, I got arrested. But by standing up for myself, I ignited a movement. From there, the Montgomery bus boycott began. For 381 days, well over a year, all blacks in the city, and even a few whites, refused to ride the public buses. Finally, the rules were changed. Public buses were no longer allowed to separate people based on the color of their skin. That was only the beginning. Eventually, we were allowed to drink from the same water fountains, ride the same elevators, and go to the same schools. The fight wasn't over. Now, thousands more people were committed to justice and inspired. In my life, people tried to knock me down, tried to make me feel less than I was. They teased me for being small, being black, being different. No one should be able to do that. But if they try, you must stand strong. Stand for what's right. stand up for yourself. When you do, others will follow. I am Rosa Parks. I'm not a politician or a president or an actor or a famous business owner. I'm just an ordinary person, but I'm also proof that there's no such thing as an ordinary person. I hope you'll always stand up for yourself, and I hope you'll remember that we're all in this together. Well, friends, in your packet this week, you're going to get a felt animal hand puppet. So you're going to get a sheet that goes with it. And the first thing I want you to do is to look to see which of the animals you get. You'll get one of those. And once you have figured out which animal, then you can start building it. So it's going to come with these pieces in this backing. So the first thing is to pop out all the pieces, okay? And so you'll end up with the scraps like this. You can set that aside. I've already popped out some of these pieces, as you can see. So the one I'm working on is an elephant, and so I'm going to put the other ear here, and I'm going to put this flower here. Now, the way I know where these pieces go is I've looked at the elephant that's on the instruction sheet. So if you want to have the pieces go where they've designed it to go, you're going to have to look at this to see what the pieces are and where they go. And then just lay them on the felt backing there. And when you have all the pieces laid out the way you want it, then you'll peel the back off and stick them on. But don't peel the backing off until you have them positioned, because, boy, it's not as easy as I thought. Once you have them peeled off, you can't reposition them. It will be stuck there. So make sure you know where you want to put them, okay? And you keep going, get them all attached. Then, this is a sewing project too. So you're going to get a piece of yarn and a needle. And so you need to thread your needle, okay? And then you're going to start on a corner. And you're going to go through both pieces. There's a backing piece here. I don't know if you could see that. Let's see. There's actually two pieces there that we're sewing together, okay? So come through, and then, whoops, wait a minute. Leave a bit of a tail, okay? Because you're gonna need to tie it off. I'll do a couple stitches to show you. You're going down and then back up, and you'll go all the way around the whole animal, sewing the two pieces together. Okay, now you left a tail here, And what you can do is you can come on the back side and anchor it. Just feed it through under that other stitch and tie it off. Okay? Just make a little knot. Because when you get this all done, it's a hand puppet and you'll be able to stick your hand in it, but you don't want it to come apart. You can trim that off later if you want. So work your way all the way around, and then when it's done, I'm not going to take the time to do that in this demo, but you can stick your hand in there, and obviously your fingers won't poke out like mine are, but then you can do a puppet show. Okay, have fun. Felt hand puppets. And now it's time for communion.
As Jesus gathered with his disciples, he took the bread and broke it, and blessed it, and said, "This is my body broken for you." He took the cup and poured the juice, and said, "This is my blood poured out for me. Do this in remembrance of me."
Well, let me show you what's happening in the world. Look at these beautiful spring flowers. So be paying attention. Spring is coming our way. Well, today we learned about Rosa Parks, who showed a lot of courage as she stood up against racism. She and many others quit riding the buses in protest. They were peaceful and persistent, and together they were able to get the rules changed. Are there things in our world that you would like to see changed? Ponder that this week as we move into the season of Lent, a time to reflect and think. Have a good week. Look for signs of spring. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.